I am not crazy, okay? We all know this. I, Tanko, have now been listed in more than one file in the past month. As of 2 days ago, I've had my account irreversibly closed for exploiting. What that means, I have zero fucking clue. But bear with me, because there's a lot of very important context before I can talk about the Finny list, okay? And I promise it's not me all just yapping. I'll discuss how to improve the game the most so this doesn't happen to anybody else. Shout out Thunder, free Thunder. Okay, as you may know, Asher's creation has ruined my life. Between the backstabbing, the cheating scandal, the corruption of the intrepid mod team, and the waste of time that is farming a stupid fucking mob for 12-hour shifts every 20 goddamn minutes of my life. I'm sick of it, okay? So yeah, I've been playing a little fighter again, but we're not here to talk about my addiction to terrible classes. Let's start from the beginning. For those of you who don't know the name Tanko, I'm the great unifier of regions and the most prominently loudmouth player on Ashes since Phase 1 back in 2024. Regardless of the outcome of the video, I'll still be around begging Fighter to get nerfed and loving my best friend Lineker's sausages. I can humbly say I am the definer of the meta. In every single phase, you've probably been using my weapon skill tree setup. Your fighters come to me, your rangers come to me, and your guild probably has screenshotted every single thing I've ever posted in our class discords. But I'm okay with that, because this knowledge bank of mine has also led to me being one of the best econers and richest people this phase by camping my favorite mount, Protector's Pride. For those of you watching who aren't massively invested into Ashes yet, the Protector's Pride is the most coveted mount in the game, with only a few being introduced to the game every single day. It gets priced roughly at 55 gold, which is a lot. But for anyone who has played any sort of MMO with a player-ran economy or anything like CSGO, you'll know that oftentimes these super valuable items often attract people who have bad intentions. Real-world traders, dupers, Chinese bots, you know the drill. Now for the nerd shit and the reason for the title. Tanko, was permanently banned from Ashes and given zero response from the devs regarding the reasons, the method I used, or any sort of identifying action that led to me receiving an immediate full account closure of an account with, several thousand hours logged. And here, just for you, is the exact email I got while enjoying some mint chocolate chip ice cream 2 days ago. And as one of the biggest known freaks and no-life grinders in the community, while I'm honestly relieved to be freed from farming mounts and gear for the rest of this wipe, I kind of want this video to showcase just how concerning the lack of diligence Intrepid support team has. Not to mention the kind of absolute train wreck that this phase has turned into after Intrepid has kind of just decided to go on Christmas break right before their most important release to date. As the martyr I am, the goal of this video is to push whatever high up at Intrepid support team there is to revamp their support team ASAP. This system is grossly outdated and it needs to get revamped before this game comes close to release if it wants to survive the long term. And for those who have TikTok brain, I have timestamped the 4 sections if you want to go straight to the juice. Alright, moving on to section 1, the Finny list. As some of you may have saw, and for those who haven't, it's linked down below. I and many other high-profile economy players have been banned for exploiting. The main issue is we actually have zero fucking clue what the bans are for, as the devs have not given us any information besides the fact that we were exploiting, which seems kind of broad as an initial ban wave for egregious dupers and RMT sellers slash buyers. So, my initial reaction to this ban list is that I was traded illegal bought gold, something that the developers said that they had countless tools to track. And my primary concern over this list is that those who received it were given the words that this decision is final. Using words like this when your ban list was created by 4 staff total, including developers of the actual video game itself, and only 2 actual CS teams, and most importantly, over 1,000 players long, being absolute in your words is never a good idea. I'll expand on this a lot in the next section, as it'll kind of just be the most meaty as to what's going on here. Alright, section 2. They are not perfect. Intrepid has a very long history of taking widespread action on players, consistently banning innocent people, and being told that their decisions are irreversible and absolute. I'm about to share with you a ton of this evidence, and all the ones that were immediately reversed, not to mention the ones that I have no access to. Alright, first up from last phase, which was only a few months ago, two extremely well-known players, and one of them being a streamer known as Zybak were given a similar ban message, and another who will be unnamed, but for whoever's in the community, obviously will know about him. And similarly, Zybak actually made a video on this situation, and it'll be linked down below about his process, so make sure you give that a watch. What I'm showing now are both of the players being banned for essentially having a good grasp on the economy, and both being banned shortly after, which makes me wonder how many players who are much less known in the community being banned without a voice to defend them. This also goes back to Phase 2, where prominent members Shatter, Sick Haze, and Sirbop, to name a few, from a guild known as Barcode, now Aura, had their crafters banned in mass after being traded illegitimate gold, and having to be unbanned by one of the producers of the game, as the CS team refused to look further into their logs and actually confirm if their trades were legitimate. This kind of just shows their inability to actually investigate beyond the top skim, and then needing to essentially use a completely unrelated developer to CS and their producer to solve their mistakes. And moving on just from external sources, I alone have had two unique run-ins with the CS team previously where they were forced to overturn their warnings and account actions against me due to them not taking due diligence before handing out punishments. The first time, I was given a warning on my account for impersonating another player. What the most damning part of this, however, is that the ban message was sent to the wrong person. After a rumor was spread by a certain unnamed guild leader for propaganda reasons, the developers immediately issued a warning to my account without actually confirming I had stolen the name in the first place. On top of that, when we as a guild were killing a world boss that bugged out and we had reported it directly to the developers, we were then given a warning to over 40 different accounts en masse for the exact bug we had reported in the first place, all in the middle of the night, long past Intrepid working hours. So I'm not sure what went wrong in their CS team for them to have mass warned an entire guild at 11 p.m., but like they always do, they had to immediately revert this mistake after we messaged a producer with actual power to solve this blatant misjustice. While I have many other examples I can go off about their CS team making questionable decisions, I think it would be better for me to go into detail about what they need to do in the future to solve these problems, and really what just needs to happen. Alright, Section 3, what needs to happen. First of all, we need some transparency ASAP. I think the Finny list was actually a fantastic step into making the developers trusted and that they're actually taking a stand against, these real world traders, these dupers, and others. But as this video hopefully shows, it's not perfect. It took them several weeks just to give us this list in the first place, and several more weeks for them to actually ban the people who are massively duping, real world trading, and others, to the point that the economy has been bricked beyond repair. I know this as all the mounts I was banned for are still in the game, and every person I've bought, gear or bought materials from all have my gold, and all the guildies who have 100% bought some sort of questionable material have all had their gear completely fine, and I don't think any of these pieces or materials from these dupers like Ease have actually gone anywhere besides being said that they got removed, but I don't think they did. The devs have also yet to respond to any person's messages from the band, and with no in-game GMs, GM chat system, or literally any option besides putting in a ticket and waiting weeks for a response, even Blizzard has a faster ticket resolve speed than them. We as a community need some sort of community rep that has a much quicker contact to developers besides the people who have paid for PI, GMs of top guilds, and just a total customer support overhaul because 2 entire CS employees should not be responsible for handling hundreds of thousands of players. I still have a ticket open where I actually have a picture of a guy saying he's going to go and buy gold before he buys my mount. And that's yet to still be closed or taken action upon. I don't even see him in the files. One extra bit I can offer is as the main Protector Pride crafter on the server, I had my friend put in a feedback thread showcasing just how lucrative the Protector's Pride farm is, including a bug that skews the mount to effectively be worthless, which artificially shifts its price higher, making it a perfect vestige for people who real world trade. And I think it's kind of hilarious that as one of my main concerns in the post was that I was going to get false banned since one of the only people who could afford an extremely expensive and bugged to be artificially rare amount would only cause a problem for the server as a whole. An extra fun fact, the only person who would actually take a look at this was a completely unrelated to an econ dev that had to push it up because the econ devs were just AWOL, as we've seen over the past few phases. It's just nowhere to be seen. Lastly, here's just one extra section showing people are still blatantly buying gold, they're still cheating, and they're still fly hacking, yet being completely untouched by the ban system as they completely destroy the server's economy.
You've heard of the Epstein files, but have you heard of the Finny files? Tonight we...
New documents labeled restricted have raised questions about the man known as Tanko. Was he wrongly banned or was he ever at the Finny mansion?
We don't know why his name was in those.
I thought I knew Finny for real, but it turns out he duping everybody up in here. First he duped my clothes, then my neighbor's dog, then my wife, then my kids. He duped so much, I don't even know which kid is the original anymore. He dumping everybody.
Up next, Srixon found hung over the guild disband button again. Stay with us.